getting past the obstacles to happiness.
The false self doesn't need to be changed, as it cannot be changed. However, it can be eliminated and substituted with the true self. Recognizing the distinction between attempting to alter the false self and exchanging it with your authentic self is crucial. Just as a hawk cannot transform into a dove, it can be exchanged for a dove instead. Keep in mind that the false self is not real. It is an illusion that we mistakenly believe in. In truth, there is only one self, one ultimate power. The true self is likened to the kingdom of heaven dwelling within each individual. It represents the higher self, the divine essence within humanity. Once we become aware of and unleash this true self, our potential is boundless, encompassing all that is positive, enjoyable, and fulfilling. It is important to acknowledge this truth, even if we may not currently sense it within ourselves. Embrace the reality, regardless of how you may feel at the moment. Our goal is to eliminate the false self and operate from our genuine core. This is essential for human well-being and serves as the ultimate remedy. It is comparable to unveiling a sculpture from a misleading covering, revealing its true shape. I believe the biggest obstacle to achieving happiness is when people secretly believe they already have all the answers to their problems. This false assumption is often felt by others, yet millions of unhappy individuals remain unaware of it, which prevents them from reaching their full potential for happiness. When faced with a difficult problem, admitting, "I don't know the answer," can be extremely powerful. By surrendering our lack of understanding to a higher power, we allow it to guide us to a solution. This is similar to giving raw materials to a skilled craftsman and trusting them to create something far more magnificent than we ever could. Similar to how a person under a magician's spell doesn't recognize their hypnotic state, a man is also unaware of the hypnotism in his own life. Since he has no prior experience of being outside of this hypnotic state, he cannot understand it. He only knows hypnosis, so he rejects any notion of something else. However, there is a way to free himself from this spell.
Realizing who you are changes everything.
Men often have a mistaken perception of who they truly are, identifying with a false sense of self. Even though they are their true selves, they are unaware of this reality. Much of their suffering can be attributed to their futile efforts to validate this false identity, such as seeking admiration and praise. Despite the ego's desire for approval, it is not the essence of a person. The main problem lies in ignorance and a lack of understanding of our genuine selves. By embracing our true identity, our troubles and mistakes will dissipate, giving way to tranquility and insight. However, the world can be a cruel place, and it may seem impossible for someone to lead a happy life. Nonetheless, even if you plant a tulip bulb in a field full of weeds, it will still bloom into a beautiful tulip. Getting rid of the false self can be compared to a scenario where you are with someone who constantly causes problems, and you decide to remove them from your life. Initially, you may feel uneasy because this troublesome person is all you are familiar with. However, as they leave, you notice a new figure approaching from another direction. The more the negative influence goes away, the closer this new figure gets. Eventually, you realize that this new friend is your true self, someone reliable and authentic. The main goal of every individual should be to attain freedom and liberation. When a person starts to realize their circumstances, they should strive to break free from any form of enslavement. As long as someone is enslaved mentally and physically, true freedom cannot be achieved. To be free, one must first achieve inner freedom. Man's lack of self-awareness, particularly his ignorance about himself, is the primary cause of his internal enslavement. Without understanding his own capabilities and tendencies, he is unable to truly be free and self-governing, instead being at the mercy of external forces. In ancient teachings, the initial requirement on the path to freedom was always to understand oneself and to know one's true essence. This self-awareness is essential for achieving enduring success, akin to a guest in a grand house enjoying its offerings without bearing any responsibilities.